For over 230 years, the U.S. Mint has been making coins for circulation and for the last half century for collectors itself. How many of you remember the first coin ever made by the U.S. Mint? Well, tonight I have it, and as you're going to soon see, it's ridiculously affordable. It is one of the fun parts of coin collecting, and that is going back in a time capsule 200 plus years and finding coins that are affordable. In this case, this hoard of large cents that we purchased at the Pittsburg A&A this summer. And when we broke it down, we got it back here, wow, inside of it. Now, I referenced the first coin ever made by the U.S. Mint. In 1793, Philadelphia Mint opened up its doors. And they made their first coin. It was this coin. They call it the large cent because in 1857, they shrunk it to the size we know today. And that has been nicknamed the small cent because for 60 plus years we had a big coin. This coin is the size of a $50. It's 29 millimeters, and a Kennedy $50 is 30.6 millimeters. Now, during this time frame, they made two basic design look and feels for the obverse of Lady Liberty. They call it the Matron, which is 1816 to 1835, and then that was replaced with the braided. Now, this row right here, this is not what you're going to get. This is what we kicked out. Heavily worn, bunch of green because they're copper. Somebody cleaned it to look like it was brand new, or they cleaned half of it and didn't do a good job of it. That top row is not. It's what we kicked out. That bottom row in the capsules, that's the look and feel. Full dates, full inscriptions, hand-selected, homogeneous, obverse and reverse. The front and the back of the coin look like they belong together. And for those of you that look for old coppers, you know what I mean by that. The front might look gorgeous. To turn it over, it's a different color. That beautiful big 1 cent, obvious. But think about it. When these coins were being made, that's all we had, really. The coin that circulated at this time was the large cent. Now, if you want some fun with numbers, and I love numbers, right? A place to go is, how many large cents did they make between 1793 and 1857? That 60-year span, basically, before it was replaced. And how many coins did they make in January of the Lincoln cent? You'll be surprised. The second thing to remember is in with the good, out with the bad, right? When they introduced the small cent in 1857, which was that Flying Eagle cent, the first year in circulation, which is the size of a dime, right? Like the size in our pocket today, significantly smaller. They were telling us these big ones are more special because they're bigger. So people were, again, if you turned in the large cent, what did the U.S. Mint do? Melted it down and made 2 small cents. Talk about a great year for the books. They can bring an inventory and split it into 2. But here's something else everybody forgets. It's just our timeline of history. We were still a young nation at this time in history. In the 1860s, we had our own strife, right? We had our Civil War. The North versus the South at that time. And the shortage of coinage, copper, silver, gold, all pre-1860 U.S. vintage coins are like finding a needle in a haystack. And the reason for that is both sides, the North and the South, melted everything they get their hands on because they had to pay for war materials, from Band-Aids to bullets, right? And nobody outside of, I guess, the soothsayers knew who was going to win, right? When the war's going on, if you're France or another country, you want currency or do you want metal? So again, all this stuff disappeared, which just is part of history. Then you add in the fact that we changed designs to a smaller design, which means all these bigger ones were melted by the U.S. Mint to make double the number of smaller ones. Wow. So again, that top shelf, all the uglies that we don't like. And hopefully you don't either. The ones on the bottom shelf are a mixture of the matron and the braided hair. So our coins date from 1816 to 1857, the group we have in stock. And right now, good question, Hunter, thank you. I didn't mention it yet, did I? I can do up to 10 different dates. There was only one mint that struck all of our large cents. They were only Philadelphia's. So every year it was one coin. 1820, the coin you saw. The 1828 coming up, the coin you're seeing. They are the only coin made that year from Philadelphia. Our first small cent was 1908, a long time after this. So up to 10 different, and it'll be a good mixture of old design and new design. Matron and braided, all mixed in here. Again, 1816 to 1835, and then after 1835 to 1857, the last year of issue. Those are the two types. Now my competition, they're at $85 for a coin. And then if you want more than one different date, they go up to $95 when you get to the third or fourth coin. Then they're over $100 by the time you get to the fifth coin. Here's our deal, and it's always been our deal. Our hoards are priced the same. And we're just going to guarantee you different dates and their mint marks. And again, this is the ugly roll. This is what you're not going to be getting. It's all the variations of ugly when it comes to the large cents. From the ones that weren't clean but are green, to the ones that were partially cleaned, to the ones that were completely cleaned, that one that's standing out, to the other one which is completely worn off. Every one is full detail, obverse, reverse, a beautiful hand-selected circulated coin. And our price, whether it's 1 or 10, and the 10 will be different years. They're over 80, we're under 40. That's why it's one of these deals in the show here tonight. And again, it's a vintage coin, hurrah. We've talked a ton lately about the Morgans, the Proof Silver Eagles, and we love those categories, but you can't miss on the very first ever coin issued by the U.S. Mint. Back in 1793, and that will be the large cent. Philadelphia made them all the way through 1857. We shrink it from a $50 size to the size we have in our pocket, and we haven't touched it since then. That's the same size. So again, a $50 is 30.6 millimeters. This is 29. Beautiful, beautiful selection of dates, which also means a selection of the two different types that were made. Guys, we got to put a 30-second clock up. Lots of multiples, and again, all the ones I'm seeing so far are 10 or less. You'll get different coins. And again, this will not be the row you get. Not from us. These are the ones we kicked out of the hoard. This group we bought, which is a person who was just collecting these things for a long time, private individual, and I want to say 40% of them were the top shelf, and we sold them off to one of our competitors. The bottom shelf, that's the quality we like to keep. Consistent look and feel. They look like they were out there because they were. You don't see large coppers that look like that top shelf and they're bright and shiny. Now, the detail's wonderful. It's just not original. And there's nothing wrong with that. But ours, again, are original, hand-selected, circulated coins. Sorry, I blew through the stop sign, everybody. Again, lots of people on the phones. Thank you. But it is time for me to be moving on.